Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the weekly Old School Q&A. I hope you're all having an exciting week. Joining us today on the couch, we have the ever-wonderful Mod Gambit.
Hello.
We have Mod Ash.
Hello.
We have Mod Lenny.
All right, guys.
And we have Mod Monroe.
Right.
That one was actually forced, because I always get his name wrong. I forced that one on purpose. I'm your host, Mod Wolf. Nice to see you all. On the chat today, we have Mod Rye. If you have any questions, at Old School RS, and we'll be gathering those to be put on the iPad. And, well, actually, let's just jump straight into the sneak peeks, I think, because Halloween is coming tomorrow, made by this wonderful man right here. And we're going to show you the rewards. Are you ready? No. It's a little spoopy. Are you ready what the reward is? Let's go. Picture, please, Mod John. There you go. We have 2 rewards this year, in fact.
Yes, so special credit to Mod West for making that for us. It had come from a player suggestion I had recently, and it turned out to suit the event remarkably well. So, yeah, that, and then there was a few requests for Eek the Spider as well. And while we weren't able to get to make her look like exactly like she does in RS3, because their render orders work completely differently to how ours do, Mod West kindly made a version of Eek for us as well. So you can have your little friend back there and clown outfits so that you're less likely to make any new friends dressed like that.
Yeah. And then to accompany this, if you ever want to be particularly creepy, can we have the next picture, please, Mod John? Look at that. That's just, that was a perfect picture. Mod West sent that one over, and I was like, yeah, we're using that. Nice and creepy. Creepy clown. See, I'm actually not scared of clowns. Is anyone scared of clowns?
I am now.
Yeah, no, seeing that, I think, I could well be at this point.
I was never really afraid of it as well.
No, that's just a bit...
Well, that, on the other hand, that's quite special. Anywho, in addition to those new things, you'll be getting the prior Halloween events rewards, so that'll be all the skin colours, all the emotes, all the other items, of which there are many, including 2 of the tradable ones, the pumpkins and the Halloween masks, and the player own house war kit colour.
Lot of rewards now. It's slowly but surely creeping up to... You actually get a full inventory, and I think there's just about fitted in now.
That's why, for the sake of sanity, most of them are unlocked but left with Django for you to pick up your convenience.
Cool, fantastic. I'm going to also, if we can go on to the next picture, we have some exciting news, a little update about the collection log. We did get the engine work that was required for continuing development on that. Do you want to update us on that, Mod Lenny?
Yeah, so when I was first working on it a couple of months ago now, I believe it was, we ran into a couple of issues with the huge amount of data involved in it and basically couldn't boot up a world using it. And my first reaction to that was take out all of the clue scroll items because there is an insane amount of them. So we have recently had that engine work completed, and I've been able to go back, put all the clue rewards back in, and I'm now putting some of the finishing touches on it and hopefully get it through to QA soon. And I believe we're aiming to almost definitely have it out this year.
There you go. Sometime throughout the rest of it. We're running. It's pretty quickly coming up to the end of the year. So exciting stuff. Yeah. There you go. We do get engine work, see? It does happen. On top of the fact, obviously, mobile, very importantly, is coming out next week, the 30th. It's coming out Tuesday. But I have been told, to let you all know, that... I've just realised I noticed. That's made me happy.
Yeah.
Pre-order and pre-register for mobile is still, of course, open until it is released. For those that have pre-registered and pre-ordered on the Apple Store and the Google Play Store, it's worth knowing that you might actually get it up to about a day earlier than everybody else. You'll be first notified. So if you haven't pre-ordered or pre-registered, please do so now. Let Reddit know, let Twitter know, let your friends know, let your mum know, let your cat know. ! Mobile, do pre-order and pre-register up to a day early. Can't go wrong, really. Extra day to be able, not go outside and play on your mobile instead in bed. So,
yeah.
Exciting stuff. Make sure you do that. Tell everybody about it. We have a couple of suggestions from Reddit that I want to go to. The first one, I believe, is the bone sack. So this was a suggestion on Reddit. Essentially, it's a wilderness kind of... So obviously, like a herb sack. You get it from a drop in the wilderness. You can make it based on crafting level, presumably to lower the amount of bots that can get it. Drops the items inside of it. Holds, I think it's 10, 18, 30, and 48 slots for how many you can hold.
That's what it says.
Yeah. There you go. That's the first suggestion. What do you guys think about that? They're actually reading it now. We never used to be able to read these suggestions,
Yeah.
but now we've got a bigger monitor. They're actually reading through it and making their opinion on it. So there you go.
I don't know, you can already store bones in the looting bag, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not seeing the extra value this adds.
I'm assuming it's going to, so it would let you take it out and then use it obviously on the wilderness altar,
Right.
basically.
Strong.
Yeah. I'm not seeing anywhere that it drops the bones to the player that kills you when you die with it, though.
I think it does. It also drops 2 pieces of the thing used to make it, I believe, from what I remember reading.
Yeah.
It says dying to a player makes you lose your sack. Another player will get 2 pieces of sackcloth.
Yeah.
But not the bones. There we go. Is that a general no on those guys? Is that a yes from anyone?
For what it's worth, I'd be a little sorry to have a bone sack that wasn't related to the existing bone sack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
It's a no for me. I don't really like it particularly that much.
There we go. Right, let's move on to the next suggestion. For the Wilderness Air obelisk shortcut, this one got quite highly upvoted last week as well. It's a really high agility requirement. I always take these suggestions with a pinch of salt, but I'm always interested in what people think in the suggestions, because if it gets upvoted on Reddit, there must have been some quench somewhere for it. What do you guys think about that? Oh, there's a lot more.
Yeah, I think it's a good addition, and it's certainly more for Iron Men, obviously, as mains really don't have much of a reason to charge air orbs.
Yeah. It's not likely 93 agility a bot's going to have.
No, the one thing I'd probably say is either, a high agility and the hard diary, or a elite diary plus like slightly less agility.
Yeah.
That would be the one tweak I'd make, I think, with that. I certainly think it's something that we could look to add in the future.
Cool. Anybody else?
It'd be nice to use more grapples.
Yeah. Grapples are underused.
Also, the route from Edge Bank to south to the ladder, then north, and that blasted door thing.
You could argue it's more dangerous. People are obviously PKing runecrafting glories as it is, presumably there, right?
Yeah, I think that'd be around the same path
Yeah.
to a point.
Well, there you go. Right. Thank you so much for that, guys. Let's move on to the actual questions this week. First one coming in from Maxi. What's the longest time a boss kill counter can actually record up to?
So I actually saw this question earlier and had a quick look into some of it.
Preparation, model any.
I haven't checked if every individual counter gets capped at a certain number, but I know that some of the variables used for tracking the best times, I believe, were 17-bit integers. And after doing a bit of math, that worked out that it could, in theory, store a time up to about 11 hours, 655 minutes.
You can only stay logged in for 6.
Yeah, that's what we were thinking. Me and Mod Monroe were just having this conversation, and I think the only time you might go above 6 hours would be, say, the fight caves, where you sign out midway through.
Yes.
So,
For what it's worth, I think if you take too long in the fight caves, we took the view that you didn't need to be credited with finishing, because
why are you taking that
you
long?
just hadn't earned it anymore.
I don't know. Probably flowering and recoiling the entire way. That's quite impressive in its own right, but a long
Still
time.
feel it would take less than 11 hours.
Yeah, probably.
Well, maybe it could be a status symbol that you got such a long duration that the game no longer told you what it was, and you get that warm, fuzzy feeling inside, like the man who swallowed the hamster.
Moving on to the next question from Samuel. Currently, there's little incentive for having a high amount of kudos. Could the upcoming... Who's not turned off their phone? Everybody who's not turned off their phone... Oh my God, that was me. That's brilliant. You couldn't have planned that, could you? Sorry, guys. At least there was no audio issues. That's embarrassing. Currently, there's little incentive for having a high amount of kudos. Could the upcoming pendant slot in the player-owned house require kudos to build, or potentially something else in the future? Bit cautious on that one because it's already been pulled. But yeah.
I'd be okay with adding a requirement if it were, inherently needed for the thing. Like when we brought out the Zamorak Hasta, and we hadn't specified in the blog that it would have the same requirements as Hastas do for learning some barbarian skills. So we just added that, and there were some complaints that we'd added a substantial requirement that hadn't been mentioned when players voted on it, but they also understood that it would be silly to have a Hasta that didn't act like Hastas in that regard. I'd be a bit more iffy about bunging in this requirement, since it's not so inherently needed. Sorry.
but potential for future Kudos requirements when the content comes up, presumably.
I'd be glad to attach Kudos requirements to all kinds of stuff around Varrock that's being added in future if it's reasonably applicable.
Yes.
Especially if we are adding ways to get more Kudos as well in the future.
Yes, or indeed the boss mass design for the basement of the museum, which I would really, really like to see.
Yeah.
Cool. Next question from Quality of Life Hamburger Helper. Could we have more maps available in game? A large amount of underground maps don't exist and simply display the surface world instead. Why is this and could it be changed?
Well, we did the main ones, the ones that you only need to go in for a bit of a quest here and there. The dev time spent mapping them didn't really seem worth it for the little amount of time you'd spend in them, especially as if you're doing a quest like, say, Underground Pass, you're in some deep, unexplored, lost, terrifying cave labyrinth, and look, you've got a handy tourist map. It just didn't feel right. Even if, what's his name, Koftik might have made it a few minutes earlier. So, for all those reasons, we felt that rather than spending more weeks making more maps, we'd move on to other things players wanted that weren't about maps. But if a place is somewhere that people commonly go for, like, training purposes, and it's not one of these lost, mysterious quest places like the Temple of Light, then, yeah, we could add a map for it.
Yeah. Feel free to report those, right-click the report button, and send them on over, and on a case-by-case basis, we can probably add them into some little jobs for the devs to work on a QA point. Does that sound good? Cool. Question from the same guy. Could mammoths be moved from the wilderness to Weiss? Seems more fitting for their character.
That would have the advantage that it would get them off the area around the Corp Cave entrance.
That is true.
And I've always wanted to do that.
What do you think about that? Let's straw poll this one, Mod Rye. Let's see what the chat thinks. Should mammoths be moved from the wilderness to Weiss? That would also probably remove them from Wilderness Slayer, I presume.
It would have to if they weren't there anymore.
Seeing as they're not there.
I mean, unless we left a few mammoths somewhere out of the way for legacy purposes.
Yeah, and added them to Vice as well.
Let's move them a bit further away from the place people don't want them as well.
I'd have to end it with a kind of mammoth hole just to keep them off the wilderness surface. That sounds odd.
It does. Now you've said it. I want to ask the next question while we wait for the straw poll to be answered. Thank you very much for that, Mod Rye. Next question from Dragon. Pillars at the agility arena can repeat themselves. There's no visual indication it's repeated, and so you just end up missing a ticket for seemingly no reason. Can this be fixed?
Doesn't the head-up display in there change colour to indicate that you can go for another ticket?
It does, I believe. I can see why they might miss that, however.
We could make it not repeat itself probably quite easily. We're slightly better with arrays than we were in 2004 when the thing was written when the language didn't have arrays. See what 14 years of engine work does for you.
Cool. I'd be interested to see what the chat thinks about that. But I'm going to read out the answers, the straw poll, before we unmute the chat. Should mammoths be moved from the wilderness to Weiss? 85% say yay, and 15% say nay. So it's actually quite a lot of support. If you want to go ahead and unmute the chat there, Mod Rye, Meanie. Yeah, cool. That's pretty good.
So, Weiss, to the south, you can't go very far, but we could very easily unblock that because a lot of it was only blocked to stop people accidentally leaking through the blocking and exploring undefined space, especially if we might one day want to put something else there. If we wanted to use the ice field just to the south as a sort of mammoth dumping ground, then sure. I assume that's where they'd expect them to be put.
Are you okay there, Mod Rye? What's up?
I think he might have had plans for that area.
There we go, freedom. Hey. Sorry, guys. Yes, a lot of support for that one. I quite like that. Let's highlight that one. Mod Sween is upstairs. I was going to say his first name. Currently highlighting and things that you guys say so that we put them in Jira jobs for the future.
It's an odd question, but should the mammoths be repainted if they were moved to a ice
I really
land?
like them, at least graphically slightly changed. But the point of them was to keep them old, though, wasn't it?
Was it? Frankly, I think the point of them was that we'd found this graphic in the repository and wanted to put some stuff in the wilderness. And we didn't have any artists in the team in those days.
I would like them updated, but I also see why people may not want them updated. It is one of those iconic, legendary, this was going to be released but never was in 2004.
Fair enough, I've never really seen a mammoth in real life.
I've not seen a mammoth as well.
They're not part of any dye or anything, are they?
Well, there's a wilderness one, but we presume you have to work around it rather
Yeah.
than kill a mammoth. That we kill something else of comparable level in the vicinity.
Yeah.
Or we leave just one mammoth for legacy.
Evidently, we're probably giving them new models eventually anyway, according to our artist mod Rise. So
Oh, cool.
never mind. There you go. If we're going to move them, that might be a good time to do it.
I remember Mod Ghost being really quite vocal after making the Abyssal Sire that he never wanted to work on things with too many legs again.
And then-
I was wondering whether mammoths with 4 might have been a thing up until I saw the Hydra.
I was about to say, we were talking about that on stream the other week actually when he was on, and when they didn't know the Hydra was coming, and it was like, why would you ever take on something with so many moving parts? And we were like,
So my millipede boss concept.
yeah, you're millipede.
Yeah, I think that'd be quite fun.
Start with a centipede, move up to millipede. Let's give us room to expand. Moving on, next question from My Life asks, could extended adamant dragon task please give 30 to 60 dragons as opposed to 10 to 30? It makes it more in line with rune dragon extensions.
We want to kill that many of them.
Yeah, I feel like people would rather kill that many rune dragons over that many adamant dragons, but sure, why not?
Actually,
I mean, if they see that as a good thing to have more of them, then sure they can have more of them.
Yeah.
I see please God no from Sephiroth.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried killing some before for Sire task, and they were, yeah, not the best things to kill.
Well, this is a natural problem whenever we've come to agree that if we ever release things that are the same level to kill, or like same requirement to kill, releasing a lower tier version and a higher tier version is not a good shout. The difference with obviously the upcoming Worms and Hydra is that they're very different levels, so it makes sense to have different ones.
Yeah.
I found a reference in the code base to a commented out gold dragon. I think somebody was looking to. It was the dev who'd have made the bronze and iron and steel ones back in the day. It looked like he was planning the semi-precious metal, well, the precious metals.
Yeah, interesting.
I mean, what he was planning with them, we do not know. I think gold dragon was going to be a kind of yellowish steel dragon.
I still really want to do gemstone dragons. I was lucky enough to be able to do them on RuneScape with mod days, and I'd like to be able to do. But we had a lot more budget constraints over there with graphics.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to have like a sapphire, an emerald, a ruby, a diamond, and keep going up. But
Dragonstone dragon.
Diamond
yeah,
dragon.
we got
sounds-
Dragonstone dragons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zenite dragon.
So you've used a chisel on it.
No, you don't get anything, sadly. It has a chance of dropping those gems and tips of its kind, and it had like its effects were like the adamant and the rune, where it was of its bolt type, its special ability.
I just want to load the entire dragon into a ballista and get the bolt effect from the whole dragon.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's not useful though.
You could use a chisel to kill them, though.
That's how you finish it off,
Yeah.
like salt.
Yeah.
Yeah, or if you've got a low crafting level, the chisel kills it.
Yeah.
And if you've got a high crafting level, it just gets pretty.
Yeah, that's very pretty. Yeah, I love it.
Right.
Next question from Revilia. In one of the older streams, you guys were saying, so that's poor English, sorry. In one of the older streams, you guys were saying that you would rework the looks of the Dragon Hunter crossbow. Will that still happen? I really like the look of the Olm one. Anybody want to talk about that?
Would the artist like to say something?
I don't know what
Okay.
He would not.
I'm not sure how much I can say, but of course, Mod West has tweeted models of redesigns for the Dragon Hunter crossbow. He's made an Olm one, a Vorkath one, and a King Black Dragon one. You guys seem to like that. We know that you guys like that. Where am I looking?
Mod West. As much as you like.
Oh.
Essentially, the models are made. We're just looking for the right place to put them. We might poll you guys on whether you just want one of them, and then the others can be put in treasure trails. We'll see in the future, but we're aware of it.
Yeah.
Will be the answer to that, right?
That's it, yeah.
Cool. Next question from Oceanhorn. Can the click boxes for fairy rings be made larger? Currently, it's just the centre of the mushrooms, and on mobile, it's particularly hard to click on.
The problem is that the piece of scenery that has the click zone actually is just the centre. Fairy rings are made out of like 10 pieces.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what we can do there, but we can at least make the click zone for the middle of the mushroom be as big as possible, because it probably isn't at the moment. Sorry, it's rather awkward that one, because you've got to be able to stand on the outer rings, which limits what we can do to make that whole thing clickable without ending with either lots of disparate click zones that overlap each other and look blinking awful, or have it render over you when you stand in it. Sorry.
Cool. Next question from Wiz. Why is the Zaire diary being added before any harder quests made for the area? The diary will be mainly locked behind skill requirements and favour requirements, if that's the case. I've got an answer from Mod Ed on this one, but I thought I'd ask you guys first. Do you have any opinions on it?
Well, quests are mostly locked behind skills too, or indeed other quests, so I'm not seeing a huge distinction.
So Ed mentioned that the blog shown requirements, but not quest requirements, and though there's no Grandmaster quests on Zaire, Grandmaster quests and Master quests from other quests and the other continent, the main continent, which actually doesn't have a name. It's just the continent.
Not Zaire.
Not Zaire is the name of the continent.
Not this again.
Essentially, yeah. There will be high-level quest requirements as well, just not quest requirements from Zaire, per se. There might be some, but yeah, we haven't told you those yet. Look forward to that. Frank asks, can we have a friend's chat ranks visible in the chat in the official client? I presume in the chat itself, in the center.
I think the only features we have for doing that in the current version of the engine are pretty inefficient with lots of name comparisons. Not entirely sure though, so possibly I'd like it as potentially as an optional thing, but I would like to be able to do it.
Cool. We can investigate that one off stream then. Fursa asks, could the prayer book item no longer require a holy symbol to cure poison? Perhaps requiring more prayer points to use. Currently, it's not worth the slots to carry. I don't think it's not the holy book and the unholy book kind of thing. It's the one from Great Brain Robbery?
Yes, it's
Yeah,
vain robbery.
yeah, you need the book and the holy symbol, and then
Yeah, I'm sure we can lose that with some appropriate,
yeah,
either with the requirement or just take it out entirely.
I would think so as well. It's not exactly cheap for the prayer points to cure the poison.
Level 90 cooking, you become able to cook the holy symbol, then you eat the holy symbol, and then thereafter you've got the ability all to yourself. Maybe not that, though.
No.
Although I do like it. They then also ask, what are your thoughts on areas like Weiss and Sleep being given new fishing spots? And they threw out the idea. I usually ask when people ask these kind of questions, have you got any ideas? And they suggested lampreys and bloodfish perhaps to be able to be traded for locals in the area for resources related to the area. So the Weiss fish could be traded for teleports, and the Sleep bloodfish that they suggested could be traded for Mortmire fungi or sacred oil and stuff around the area.
I like the word bloodfish.
I do as well.
Yeah,
I really like this idea.
it's a good idea. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, Weiss is a little bit landlocked as a town. I mean, there's a little bit right at the bottom of the cliff. I suppose we could have fitted a fishing spot there or two.
Unless we had some kind of cliff fishing.
I quite like
Yeah,
the
or
idea.
waterfall.
Yeah.
I quite like the idea of having sort of new types of fish sort of relevant to the new areas, but I don't know how I feel about just arbitrarily trading them for non-fish things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems a bit strange just adding fish for the sake of getting not fish.
It's like, I don't want to mine, so I'll fish.
Yeah.
How I mine for fish? Sorry.
I think there's a level of also like, you know, to be able to get to those areas, you would have, well, at least for Weiss in particular, you would have had to have done the quest anyway, presumably. And to be fair, on the other end of this discussion, if they suggested that, and then our response probably would have been, well, then you cook the fish and you get another thing that gives you the equivalent of a monkfish to heal. Is like, you know, what's the point? At least I quite enjoy something a bit different coming from it, would be my argument to that.
Yeah, I can see that.
However, it is a little bit Iron Man friendly, I think. You know, catch 20 blood eels, bloodfish, get 20 Mortmire, or 5 Mortmire fungi in return, AFK, near the bank. Like,
Feels like substitute the stat you maybe haven't got for the one you'd rather have to use.
Yeah, especially in regards to mining in Vice.
Yeah, because that ain't a low one. Of course, the quest would still be there.
yeah.
Although you could just boost once for the quest and then use your other skill for the rest of it.
Yes, and I wouldn't be surprised if
concern
people did. But
Yeah. Anyway.
Cool. Next question from Unban. Can IMM be able to buy bonds from other players on the GE or from some form of bond instructor? Currently, Iron Men need to use another account to use a bond on their Iron Man account to give it membership.
I'd very much like to go the GE route for that rather than the bond instructor thing. Mostly because the bond instructor thing would have real trouble getting the bonds off other people to give to you without them being lost if the server rebooted, which probably wouldn't make anyone happy. Might make us happy, I don't know. It could be very good for business, but let's not go that way.
I think the chat's hopefully trolling when they say no. Because I think, what do you? They are slightly trolling, right?
I think so. I mean, there's realistically no reason why not, because like say you just hop on your ult otherwise and trade the bond. Well, use the bond on your Iron Man, right? So,
like, yeah, I'm a bit confused. No, I don't know if they're trolling or not. I hope that they are, but that one's odd. I'd like to propose that one to the community at some point because that's quite a good.
Given that Iron players can receive a bond, which I think is the one exception, I don't see why there'd be an integrity thing that's worrying them here.
Yeah. Especially because it's doable right now with 2 accounts.
Yeah. Cool. Next question from Ison. Will there be superior variants of the new Slayer monsters that are coming with Kebos Warlands?
Not at the moment, no.
Yes, not on release. However, Moded likes to point out that the new Slayer creatures are obviously on the new Slayer Master.
Yeah.
They also have their own unique drop table because they can be killed on the new Slayer Master. But in the future, he would like to go back and potentially add in superior variants of them as well. So, yeah. But it's not currently on the plans for release. Next question from Kitty. Can the unreleased 2007 quests be added back into the game? Land of the Goblins, Path of Glowfree, and Back to My Roots are the ones that they're suggesting, and they mentioned that 2 of them are partially complete.
Path of Glowfree is largely complete. We'd need to take a fair while to reintegrate the maps and the quest infrastructure around it. And also we'd have to fix all the known bugs it had from its last launch. Like
There was a few.
well, if we gave them the version that's there now, it would have the bug in it still where you could go walk through a certain door after completing the quest, get your status set backwards, and then complete the quest again for the reward again.
Yeah.
So we'd trawl the logs to make sure that we'd got those known bugs sorted. Then you could have warped terror birds.
Because people loved warped terror birds, weren't they the highlight of people?
That's what it brings you, which is one of the reasons we haven't pushed it, because of all the Slayer updates people wanted, warped terror birds and indeed the tortoises didn't seem to be so exciting. Land of the Goblins, that one's not quite so complete. I think Mod Nexus confirmed when he went and had a look that you couldn't actually complete it, but he reckoned it could be fixed, and then all its known launch issues could be fixed without too many weeks' work. So that's viable. Of course, the drawback of Land of the Goblins is that you do it, and at the end, Zanuck gets in a box, and the lid shuts, and it ends. And as cliffhangers go, that we would not be able to continue in Chosen Commander, because that is huge. That would be a rather sad place to leave it, unless you just hate Zanuck and want her in a box. Oh, I see.
And then back to My Roots isn't started, I think.
Yeah, Mod Nexus went and had a look and confirmed that there was, all we'd really got from that was an NPC saying something about hands, and that was it. We didn't have the rest of the quest. We did find that we could get hold of the music though, and we went and used it for Biofighter.
It's kind of odd. I think that I get why people would like these back, but we're capable of writing new content for you guys. We've written quests, quite a few now. And
would you put Zanuck in a box?
I mean, I wouldn't put Zanuck in a box. I also wouldn't give 2 Slayer creatures that drop nothing until the release of Summoning came out, and even then, it was only the tortoise, and it still sucked.
I hate those terror birds with passion, but not enough to want to kill them.
To clarify, Summoning is not coming out. That was the only time that warped tortoises were ever worth killing, because they dropped 2 of the things to make things. Yeah.
Sorry, I guess we just don't like those quests very much.
They don't bring anything.
Well, it's not like we can just say plop them in and there's some big content, because the plop them in thing is quite a big job.
Yeah.
See, in the intervening years since 2013, quite a lot of the under the hood Slayer systems, quest infrastructure, all that's changed. some of the areas around around Zolandra have been remapped as well, because Zolandra and various other aspects of the game would have changed in preparation for things like mobile, because the game has not been static in the 5 years. So those quests wouldn't just plop into place and then need a little fixing. It would be of the same sort of scale as writing the Kurend's smaller quests that you've seen, except that you'd already know the story and the outcome, and then you'd have warped terror birds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
And bless him, whoever it was.
Sorry, excuse me. If you guys would like to see them, I mean, if there was enough support, I'm sure we'd be up for doing it. It's just, it doesn't seem worth it.
Well, we can straw poll it like Adamy2 says. I don't mind doing it. It just doesn't feel like a big win.
Do you want to straw poll it, Rye? Let's go with, don't straw poll them individually, because we won't be able to. They'll just be picking the best one. Let's go with, would you like the following 3 quests to potentially be released again in the future?
Should we just stick to the 2 that we
I was
actually
about
have?
to say, yeah.
The two that we have. Let's ignore back to
The 2 that are almost complete.
Yeah.
Yes, because the one we can't recreate would be silly to ask about.
Out of interest, how much time do you think both of them would take development and QA? I know this put you very much so on the spot, but in my head I'm thinking about 9 to 10 weeks of dev work and QA
To
work.
reintroduce
Yes.
the existing things.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I reckon you could do it in 2.5 to 3.
You think we can do it in 3? You are different. You are way better than me, so.
Well, it depends who's... I have been doing my job slightly longer than you've been doing my job, so I can do my job a little faster.
I mean, that does make sense.
Yes. And, you know, that much time is really quite comparable to... We can do rather a lot of other stuff with that.
Yeah.
Maz's Portal Nexus, for example. Seen a few questions about that, by the way,
Yeah,
which
go on.
I'd be very happy to answer in a bit.
Yeah, please do.
Oh, yeah. Well, while they're looking at the straw poll, I'll talk about Maz. So, the Portal Nexus, it's coming on very nicely. The menus took a fair bit longer than anyone anticipated, because it turns out menus are complicated, and there's a few design things we've normally done on menus that she can't just do again, because they're not very good for mobile users, and we don't want to be making new content that's not friendly for mobile users at this point, because that'd be silly. So that took a while, but Mod Bruno has done a lot of the testing, sent it back for a bit of tweaking here and there, like you do when things get tested. And we do hope to have that in the coming weeks. Not that far away either, but obviously not tomorrow, sorry. But I'd hope that the next major update after Halloween can be it.
Cool. There you go. Would you like the 2 quests mentioned reintroduced to OSRS? Pretty much 50-50. 53% say yes, 47% say no. Pretty close one, but certainly not a large appetite for those weeks of development to not be spent on something different. That might change in the future. We'll keep an eye on it. But until then, I'm going to move on to the next question from Smooth Potato, and they ask, can you make sand pits left-clickable so it starts filling buckets without having to use the bucket on it for mobile, and potentially in the regular game as well, I think. Thoughts?
Does it currently have anything other than the use option on it? Has it got
Nope.
any other?
It has no right now, I think.
Not a sausage.
I couldn't see any reason why not if people wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe after finishing Hand in the Sand.
You know, wasn't it? Is there still a quest that does that? That the right click only appears afterwards? Or do we remove that? It's one of the early ones.
Pirate's Treasure.
That's the one.
If you haven't done Pirate's Treasure, then the right-click option says no, you have to do Pirate's Treasure, which is it feels like an insane bit of design to me.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
That's also fair, then.
Like, yeah, I'd rather just add
the alt.
Paul adding the left click.
Yeah.
Um,
Or Paul adding left click.
There wasn't a huge amount of desire for it though. I did actually see on the Reddit thread as well, and it's being typed in the chat, Sandstorm spell, and where that is. Of course, we put out the buckets. Do you want to talk about that?
I was going to say we didn't want to do it at the same time as polling the bucket packs, because the bucket packs actually do impact how hard it is to get lots of sand in buckets. So now that's out and settled, players can make an informed decision about what else we might do.
Cool. Next question from Swarman. Can we have the option to speak to Malignius Mortifer, that's how you say it, to bring back Neve from the dead? Did you sneak that in the middle of my questions, Rye? That was snuck in there.
How do you feel about this one?
I mean, I think we've had enough Neve on Reddit this quarter.
We've seen enough of Neve.
Yeah, maybe a bit too much.
Seen a lot of Neve. Too much of Neve.
I don't know. I mean, I see where they're coming from. Necromancer, Neve's dead and all that, but I think we should table that for now.
Did you spoilers? Whoa.
Oh, sorry, for anyone who's doesn't know yet.
For what it's worth, Malignius Mortifer does seem to suck at necromancy.
He is pretty bad at necromancy.
He gets a lot of mushrooms.
I did see another suggestion on Reddit, got like 3,000 upvotes. I decided not to put the picture on this one, but it made me laugh. And it was like, can you give watermelons, I think it was watermelons or coconuts, to Steve with the wig that you get from the Prince Ali rescue, and like give her an Elysian so he can like drag up as Neve once she's dead. I thought that was really funny.
I mean, Elijah Singh.
Yeah.
Yeah, Elysian Singh. Just saying, could make a lot of money. Like, it could be, just saying, Paul it, but don't Paul that.
Do not, Paul.
Next question from, what?
I'm quite surprised that the suggestion that come up for necromancy with it was about Malignius Mortifer rather than, say, a level 99 spell on the necromancy spell built for it.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Reanimate
I
Neve.
forget that. Okay, yeah, that would have been more fitting.
Well, if a necromancer can only just talk to the dead, doesn't say they have to reply.
I'd like to bring her back, and similarly to, it's like Harry Potter. There's a lot of movies that are like, oh, I'll bring back somebody from the dead, and they're like in constant pain forever when they're reanimated. So yeah, just.
I'm going to have to reread Harry Potter. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't quite remember.
No, that one wasn't Harry Potter. That was the Harry Potter one was when they brought back the girlfriend. She was like soulless and dead, I think. It was one of the.
Is that Pet Cemetery?
We'll talk about this afterwards. The next question from Bio. A while back, right-click resets were added to box traps. Could the same be done for other traps like bird snares?
Sorry, I wasn't listening. I was thinking about dead people in pain.
Oh, I know what you're thinking of, but spoilers. Bob dies. The question was, a while back, right-click resets were added to box traps. Could the same be done for other traps like bird snares?
I imagine your code for the box traps is applicable to all of them.
It would work for bird snares. It wouldn't work for things like net traps because it doesn't work like it doesn't fail like others. It just drops the items on the floor. But if it creates another lock that has a right-click reset, then yeah, sure, why not? I mean, anything to make those early levels of Hunter not as painful, I'd be up for.
Yeah.
What does the chat think?
I'm wondering whether some of the people they're naming there are Game of Thrones characters I've never heard of because I haven't actually seen it.
Hold the door. Hold the door.
Still too soon.
Too soon. Too soon. The next question from Lord. Mod Tom H was working on a sequel to Misthalin Mystery in his spare time before he left. Will this be picked up or was the project shelved?
It was shelved in that I didn't just use it for the Halloween event. Truthfully, I've forgotten about that. Do you know how much detail he left and whether it was obscene or anything?
I believe that we have a Confluence document for it. So if we ever wanted to revisit it, we could remake it. However, we have not currently got Cap, our personal project time, within work to work on things like that at the moment. It's why like Feminic Exiles is currently on hold. We have actually scheduled that sometime next year, potentially, as an actual project. But I did mention this previously. I was like, wait, you looked at me in a scary way.
Nope.
No. But as it currently stands, the sequel to Misthalin Mystery it's on Confluence, which is our like internal system of documentation. And yeah, if we ever have time, I'd like to go back to it. I know that Tom H will probably appreciate it as well. It was.
Also, we can actually contact him if we want to, I believe.
Yeah, he likes to come to the pub. It's worth pointing out, however, fair warning, his sequel did have the current SketchUp to potentially kill the sandwich lady, and I know that since he wrote that design, people have different opinions on the sandwich lady and might not want that. So I'm just saying, he did mention that when he told his story to the players. So I don't know if you guys still want it anymore, but keep that in mind. I'm going to move on to the next question from Black Mirror, and he asks, will Hydra, Farming Guild, Achievement Diary, etc. all be released as one large update or in batches over time?
It will be released as one large update of the Kerbal Snowlands.
That feels really good to say.
It does.
That feels so good to say all at once. We're not batching it.
Jolly good.
I know, brilliant. So there's your answer to that one. That was a good one. PogChamp. Heisenberg asks, what's the status on the proposed death changes surveyed a few months back?
Nothing there. We'd like to, I think, run some more blogs about how to do aspects of it before we start programming anything. Do you have any thoughts about when we might be doing that?
When? I mean, we've got a poll coming up soon that we want to do. Obviously, we're looking to make changes for PvP as well. There's quite a lot of stuff racked up. Hard to give an estimate.
I was going to say, because we don't want it in that poll.
No, definitely not. Couldn't say, really. Possibly, I don't want to promise anything before the end of the year, just because we have so much going on.
We have a lot to do. I don't want to ask you to say everything that's coming out for the rest of the year, but rather some highlights for the rest of the year before Kerbal Snowlands.
Well, there's Christmas.
Well, there is Christmas.
They might have seen that coming.
Yeah.
I have 3 weeks off at the end of December as well. So I essentially am here for another month, and then I'm like, bye.
I wonder, could you guys mute me for a second, please?
Oh, you're gonna cough. Okay.
Thank you.
That was nice. That was okay.
That could have been worse. Unmute Modash.
So yeah, next year is most likely. It's definitely not coming this year, if you're wondering that. Next question from Denzel. How will a Slayer helmet combined with the Shazian Helmet 5 be classified? Will it be storable as a Slayer helmet in stashed units or a player-owned house like the Shazian Helm? Is it a unique item? How's that going to work? Got any ideas?
I would imagine it would be a unique item, mostly because we would need to create another object for it anyways. As for storing it in the player-owned house as part of the Shazian armor or in a stash unit as a Slayer helm, I'm not too sure about those at the moment.
Cool. Things that we'll probably address when we get to it. And we'll have more answers in the coming weeks, I imagine. So that's awesome. Next question from Fuegos. Can it be made so that you can move items in your inventory while harvesting herbs without interrupting it?
The pending actions thing that's doing the herbs was written to be extremely volatile so that it would be aborted by anything else a player might request to do. So I'm afraid modifying your inventory is one of those things.
For safety, presumably, to avoid bugs and...
Mostly, but it was also just designed to be, you'll do this if you don't decide to do something else, and if you start deciding to do something else, then it's considered you've had enough of the last thing you were doing. We don't have a whole lot of fine control over that one, I'm afraid.
Makes sense. The next question from Sage. Can a fossil crate be added to the swamp? You get a lot of fossils from Suliaceps, and the nearest crate is really far out. Not like far out, but like far out from the swamp.
I suppose the closest one would be in the task-only Slayer area to the actual swamp.
It's really far.
Which is quite far to go.
It is super far out.
And navigating the swamp is not easy.
I'd be up for adding one of those.
I think to encourage people to use Suliaceps because they don't use it nearly as much as they should,
so
right?
strong as well. They're
good, but you just don't see people going there, so I'd be cool with it.
Yeah, the place to add it would probably be at the end of the
near the fence.
set of trees.
I take it there isn't a mushroom teleport to nearer one, is there?
So the mushroom teleport, the mush tree, from the centre takes you all the way to the north part of the island, pretty much, near the hunting bit. So it's quite a distance. And the closest one, and that's actually also quite far from a storage crate as well.
Yeah,
I think it's breaking the run that they don't want to do, because it's having to move from doing the run that is Suliaceps.
Again, the closest one to the mushroom teleports is the Slayer task-only place. So adding another one would probably be worth doing.
I like that. Let's poll that. Let's highlight that one, Mod Sween, if you can. The next question coming in from Sad. This is a good one. Get ready for this, guys. We've got a good answer for this. Can we get a 1750 total US world? We have an update on worlds. Modash, would you like to let the players know what to look forward to next week?
Yeah, with mobile coming soon, we are reviewing our capacity, and if any more worlds are being put online, we'd expect them to include more of those restricted ones and themed ones that are necessary, like more blast furnace worlds as well as more high-level ones. We wouldn't be looking to introduce any new tiers like I don't know,
Max
750 or something if we haven't already got anything like that. But actually, I think we maybe do for free to play. But we would like to have more of the ones that do exist in more places, so that where there's only 2,200 in one place or two places, we'd like to give other hosting facilities one as part of this change.
For those also not that interested in maybe having a total specific world, just general capacity for things like lizardmen and shamans come up quite a lot. And although we're addressing things like that with Kebos Lowlands, of course some activities will get pretty crowded, and with mobile going out, we're adding quite a few more worlds.
When they suggest a max world, the fact that there is in the foreseeable future a skill being polled could be quite entertaining for that.
Only I could log on.
Well, you know, if there was just a world sitting there for nothing, until nobody on it at all, except Rogue J mods, until just this one person logs in there and stands all by themselves, they stand alone.
I think, just put things in perspective, the last time that we added more worlds, how many did we add? About 20-ish? About 50?
I can't remember. Sorry, it was earlier this year, I think.
It
It
was
was just a bit after I started, I believe.
It was. I want to say it was around 20. I remember looking at about an additional 20.
Yeah.
And we're adding more than that next week. So I'm not going to tell you how many, but we're adding more.
Possibly because we haven't confirmed ourselves yet.
That's why. But it's definitely more than that. So look forward to that. Next question from they look excited about that. There you go.
Yeah, they're excited about that one.
Next question from Voice. The desert has loads of ways to enter without using the Shantae Pass. Can the elite reward for free entry to the desert be moved to hard or even medium?
We made that elite.
Yeah, I know. I was questioning that.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
I would also think if we were doing that, it might be reasonable to move perhaps one of the ropes from the Calphite Queen to the hard diary rewards as well. Or at least poll that as well.
We did actually talk about that one before on stream, because to get the Calphite Queen head, they weren't happy about that. They were really excited about the new worlds, about mobile getting it a little bit earlier. They were really excited about moving this 5GP Shantae Pass to be free and medium. Second you mentioned those ropes.
Oh, I know, right?
Ooh, no, I can't do that. Maybe not that one. We'll see. But there was a lot of support there for the Shantae Pass.
Yeah.
For the question, in terms of the question. Good.
What are you thinking, medium or hard then for that? Probably hard.
I'm always cautious, so I'd always say hard.
Yeah.
It's not too hard to do the hard diary.
Well, that would be too hard rather than hard.
Yeah. But yeah. Next question from Gherking. They ask, any update on Chambers of Zaire updates or quality of life? It's filled with a few small inconveniences that would be nice to clean up in the near future.
Yeah, I'm afraid of the... I think it was a choice between see what we can improve about that or see what we can improve about Bounty Hunter, and we wouldn't be able to fit both of those in what's left of 2018. I think we've gone with the Bounty Hunter route.
Yeah. They are they very commonly get the scraps of food at the end of the table. It's time to give them a little bit more for the end of this year, I think, Bounty Hunter, and then we are intending to, of course.
I'm very keen to do the stuff with the Zaire Chambers. Unfortunately, had rather few other things on as well.
Yeah, just time constraints, sadly, but it's on our mind. We haven't forgotten about it. We know there's some things that you guys want. There's quite a few things that you guys want changed.
And I think if it weren't for the Bounty Hunter one, I'd be pushing for the Chambers of Zaire one to be done this year. But what we can't reasonably commit to is both.
Yeah, the PvP community have waited their time. We're going to give them something that they desire. And also, by the way, great work gathering feedback on Getting some. It was on Reddit and Twitter.
Yeah, so there was a lot that the PvP community had to say, obviously. So yeah, we've got a lot of stuff lined up, hopefully for them. We're thinking, as it stands at the moment, I need to talk to our user about this, but we're thinking to sort of roll out the PvP/bounty hunter changes. First, there's a bunch of small sort of changes to clean it up, sort of quality of life level changes for PvP, and then, don't quote me on this, but sort of hopefully,
you said it now.
hopefully introduce sort of the new system that we talked about before for bounty hunter. Sort of the task-based thing would be cool. Maybe a couple other nice things as well.
There you go. And for those who are PVM lovers, it's in our mind. It's on our backlog. It's in a lot of our minds. A lot of us are PVMers. So.
And for those of us who are PVM lovers, hopefully there was some other content in the last few years that would have been interest to you as well.
There's some cool new Slayer creatures coming out and a cool new Slayer master. You've got a nice turkey waiting up while we give a sandwich to PvP. I think be nice. You're one
Speaking
community.
of turkey, we should probably design a Christmas event as well.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I know. I've just got off Halloween, bro.
I know, that's why we don't do a Thanksgiving
Actually,
event.
I can't do Christmas testing. I'm off those last 3 weeks.
Well, in that case, the dev had better just write it correctly.
Yeah, let's hope there's no bugs. Well, there was no bugs in the Halloween, really. There was a couple of minor, like, feedback points.
A couple of people found a typo.
Yeah, there was 2 typos. 2. That was it.
Of course, it might be more interesting to see what happens when tens of thousands of people have a go at it tomorrow morning. That'll be interesting.
I hope that was it. Is what I meant to say. Yeah, good job, by the way. It was a really good event. So
Glad you like it.
you guys are gonna love it.
It's probably not what anyone's expecting.
No.
No, that's for sure.
The next question is from Opening Quote, and they ask, what questions do you ask yourselves when developing content to ensure that content fits into Old School? I thought it was a nice discussion point. Do you want to go around in a circle? I'm going to pick on you first, Model Lenny.
I think for me, not so much a question I ask myself, but the fact that I am a long-term player myself and just putting myself into that mindset and not just looking at it from sort of what I see as an employee, but what I'd personally have thought of it if I was still just a player.
Mm-hmm.
And just keeping that in mind all the time.
Makes sense. Mod Monroe,
Sure.
your bruised up face as you fell off your bike the other day.
Sure.
Can't see it myself, but I guess the players I can zoom in on their screens at home to have a closer look at his face.
Yeah. Oh, no, because you get the left cheek, so you actually avoid it.
Yes.
The bruise is on the right. Never mind, there's not one there. It's fine.
Oh, I see it now.
If you look this way, there you go, perfect.
Great. Anyway, moving on.
Sorry, yeah, moving on.
I guess the big thing to keep in mind is it fun to play as, when we're going through it? Do we think we're going to enjoy it in the first case? And if so, are people who come to do our content, are they going to enjoy it as players? And does it have enough to bring you back to that content, even if it is fun? If it's not the most interesting, there's always going to be the reason not to go back there.
Cool. Madash?
I'd ask, does it feel like something that I'm accustomed to doing in RuneScape? Like, a lot of the skills are based around, visit a resource site, gather things, and the resource site behaves in various ways. I'd kind of expect comparable activities if I'm adding something more to the skill, rather than taking the player completely away from it and having them do something radically different, like standing with just a menu on their screen, clicking on that instead the whole time. So I'd expect similar interactions to things that people are used to doing in the game.
Sorry,
The chat said a silly line. Sorry. Oh, giggling. But that is a solid answer as well, Modash. We don't hate each other. We love each other. We gotta. Well, I'm not like that. We're good friends.
Speaking of which, I think I owe one of you a pint.
No, I owe you both a pint actually. Yeah,
I don't remember very well.
Yeah. You had a lot. Have you got anything, Mod Gambit?
I think, almost using your real name there, Lenny. Mod Lenny really sort of hit the nail on the head for me. I think looking at potential content for game, I try and always imagine myself playing it in a few weeks' time or whenever it's due to come out, and working out how much I'll enjoy it or how it will affect my gameplay. Because that's a really good way to approach it, I think. And also just, I think anything that keeps within the spirit of Old School. It's a bit of a corny line, but it's got to feel
Old School.
Old School, right? Yeah, just not RS3, I guess. But something that's in keeping with the style of
You could have stopped right there. Yeah. CM, man of the people, not RS3. You could have stopped right there and the chat would have loved you. I'm going to cut you off before you say something. Next
I think they love it.
Yeah,
I
there
think so.
Solid.
I think we're liking that.
Solid. That's your community manager right there, ladies and gentlemen.
And also the word runespan was springing to my mind.
Yeah, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We've failed interviews for job roles for people who said they liked runespan. We haven't really. We haven't actually. Maybe we did. I don't know. I can't remember anymore.
I don't recall any successful applicant saying that.
Maybe it's just a positive correlation. It's just occurred coincidentally that everybody gets runespan.
Coincidence.
Next question from Cora. Can ladies use the beard slot on men to allow them to have lipstick colours? Venescular, pixies and trolls have lipstick. Why not humans?
Is that lipstick or is it blood?
I think it's lipstick in the case of Venescular and the pixies. The pixies have blue lipstick. I don't know.
We could add a lick option to Vials of Blood where you can kind of and no? Okay.
That's not very healthy. I wouldn't recommend doing that.
I think that might actually be possible if the polygons for it were just overlaid over. If the polygons were able to overlay over your chat head and mouth models. Not that you've really got a mouth in the model.
That's kind of I think they mean specifically for chat heads as well. I should have probably mentioned that, but
probably for the best because you genuinely don't
have
a
a
mouth in the.
You have no mouth.
Yeah, you can draw a mouth on with lipstick over the sort of patch of skin where your mouth would be.
Just like, isn't that what that clown? Can you put that creepy picture up again, Mod John?
Oh, does he have a mouth?
Oh, well, he has a mouth drawn on.
That's
actually, the one where he's looking through the window. Let's have that creepy picture on. Mod West painted that on. There you go. Look at that.
Yeah.
There you go.
Want to know how I got these lips?
I'll do them on myself.
Let's ask one last question. It's coming up close to 6. Dak asks, can Zaire... Oh, I'll ask a couple more. This is a quick one. Can Zaire have its own unique drink added to the bars when the expansion occurs? What kind of continent doesn't have their own beverage? His quote. I'd make a drink. Why not?
For it. Sure, why not? Yeah.
Wallet boost.
I'd like a drink.
Do it.
Give it a boost that something else doesn't have. Why not?
Yeah.
Cool. Next question. That was a really quick one. Sorry.
Runecraft beer.
Runecraft. Oh yeah, it gives you plus 99 temporarily for 30 seconds to do every content and then never. No. Kidding. Waffles. They ask, can the Shiloh Village stepping stones requirement be moved from elite to hard? It's mainly used to access Duradel, which you get from the elite teleport from the gloves anyway. I think I asked this one, but yeah.
As I recall, Duradel is on the top floor of a building that has no ladder from him down into the building, so you have to access him via the bridge from the other side of the river.
Yep.
Why does he not have a ladder?
Well, I think the point that they're getting at is the Elite Diary lets you teleport directly to him, but the Elite Diary also unlocks the shortcut that you would probably use only to get to Duradel. Technically, you'd probably use it for fly fishing, but if you've got the Elite Diary for Karamja, you're probably not fly fishing there.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of see the point.
Also add a ladder.
Also a ladder might not.
You're a speaking pipe to talk to him from up there.
Yeah.
Or shout option on his wall. What? He's just up there.
Give it a task.
Okay. 35 Iron Dragons. And you go, not that one. No, not that one.
Oi, you up there. Assign me something.
Sorry, you can't cancel your task from down there.
Yeah, it's like, what? What? 35 Iron Dragons? No!
Can't hear you. Use contact NPC.
Let's ask one final question.
Can I take a couple of
Please
the
do,
chat?
please do.
So the player's asking about the ping to Australian Worlds. That's kind of rather outside the old school teams area, that being more like network stuff. But the sysadmins are definitely aware of it and have been looking into it. We don't have any more information for you, and I'm afraid I wouldn't necessarily understand what they'd say even if they said it to me. But they are looking into it and going to try and improve it if they can. I don't suppose you happen to know anything.
Not at the moment. It's something we're aware of, but yeah, like I say, it's largely outside of our sort of remit, but it's being worked on
Yeah.
as far as it can be.
Sorry. And Samisan, I think the name was, wants to know why you can't put a ranger tunic in a player and house costume room. I think you can.
Oh,
Cool.
Done.
easy question.
Yeah.
At least I definitely added something like that was missing. I can't remember what exactly it was, but I thought I did a ranger tunic. Might have been some other ranger thing.
We did actually recently, I remember.
What was it we put in?
It was the Ranger's tunic.
Okay, yeah.
There you go. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream, but before we go, I do want to remind you all one last time, and this is very important, very, very important. Of course, next week, Tuesday, 30th of October, mobile. It's finally being released to you all on both Apple, iPhone, and Android. Look forward to that. If you haven't already, and if you're watching this from Reddit or Twitter, somebody clip this, by the way. If you pre-register, not only will you be the first people to know about this, but you're probably going to get it up to maybe a day earlier than everybody else, potentially. Pre-register, pre-order if you haven't already. Hi Reddit, hi Mum. Thank you all so much for watching, and thank you all for being on the couch. Wonderful Mod Rye, Mod Sween upstairs, Mod John for producing. Have a lovely weekend, guys. Look forward to mobile. Halloween tomorrow.